All right, so we are going to be breaking down the recent news of Trump supposedly calling Bibi on the phone and giving him quite an angry response to what's going on in Lebanon, to Israel's war in Lebanon. They've been pushing through the yellow line. They took control of the Beaufort Castle, which is a very strategic win for Israel. It's also a statement. It's a flex because it's on a high vantage point, and it's quite a military achievement. They're pushing closer to Beirut. They are having the Lebanese on the southern town of Nabatea go elsewhere. And Trump seems to be unhappy about what's going on. He thinks it's hurting the Iran deal because the condition for Iran to make a deal is that Israel pulls out of Lebanon, which they clearly don't want to do. So things are getting a little messy. We are going to give I'm going to give my commentary on a liberal channel on YouTube called Breaking Points. They're going to break down what they think is going on, and then I'm going to give my opinion. So let's check it out.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. Bro show. People live for the pound. It's good to see you, Ryan.
People live for the pound. Nerd. Nerd.
Thank you very much for joining me here on this great Tuesday. Oh my God, what a difficult job setting up the elements. Iran. We're going to start with Iran. An explosive alleged new phone call between Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, where he cusses him out. What else does he say? He cusses him out. He's fear of breaking points. Now we have with the alleged big bust phone call. Let's put it up here on the screen from Mark Caputo and Barack Ravid, the dynamic duo over at Axios. What the fuck are you doing? Trump lit into Netanyahu over the Lebanon bombing. You are fucking crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this. Now, Ryan, this allegedly happened in a Trump-Netanyahu phone call yesterday afternoon, okay? It came on the heels of that dramatic announcement from Netanyahu that they will be expanding their operation in Lebanon to include issuing an evacuation order in the Dahiya district of Beirut. And so what is signaled was renewed massive strikes on the Lebanese capital, all in the midst of these alleged ceasefire negotiations and things that had been happening. We did report yesterday that there was some, ceasefire talk and all of that going on. Trump, by the way, has now said that Hezbollah has agreed. We'll get to that here in a second. But let's throw the next element up there on the screen. Just to show you what the reaction is like from neocons here in Washington. Mark Levin saying that the leak in Axios was a violation of federal law and provided support to the Iranian regime and its Hezbollah proxy. Whomever leaked that story to Barack Ravid at Axios did a great disservice to our country, to our president, to Israel's prime minister. Wow, to Israel's prime minister. It must be treasonous, right? The Iranian regime will benefit from that leak, viewing us as weak, desperate for a deal. Yes, true. Even coming to Hezbollah's defense, the Israeli people will be furious. The missiles are aimed at them, not Washington. For 100 other reasons, what was thought to be a devastating political hit in Netanyahu by the leakers about a private phone call has done much damage to us in our military and our diplomatic strategy. If the leakers or others believe Israel should abandon its survival for some deal, they will have a hard lesson to learn. If the substance of the call is accurate, it is bad enough in my view. What I think is just really shocking, Ryan, is in any way that this phone call where he curses him out is indicative of real policy.
Right.
We have seen this time and time and time again from 5 American presidents now who curse Netanyahu in private. Sometimes they even curse him in public. And yet, when it comes time for the dollars, for the bombs, for the Iron Dome, and for the THAAD, man, it sure does seem like they get every single thing that they want, doesn't it?
Yeah, we can talk about how it happened, what precise words he might have used,
Right.
the severity of his anger, the number of cuss words he threw at him. But you're right. What matters is what's on the ground, and that is that Trump is still stuck in, and I hate to glaze the whole Professor Pape, but stuck in that escalation trap.
Escalation trap is
he's
true.
stuck right in there. And okay, so it does look like he got him to not bomb Beirut.
Yeah.
Right now, which probably saved hundreds of lives in the for the.
It's looking real grim. Isn't that right, Ryan? Grim.
For now, for the near term, Israel has killed thousands of people in Lebanon, southern Lebanon. They continue to encroach forward. They've pushed across the Litani River at this point.
Damn right they be encroaching, baby. IDF, encroach. Let's encroach, man. I like that word. Encroachment. Let's encroach the shit out of Hezbollah. That's not the right term. Let's encroach on Hezbollah territory, baby. Let's go. Let's go. It's looking real grim for Hezbollah, I'll tell you that, Ryan.
And the agreement that Netanyahu is saying he's reached is that, okay, well, we won't shoot at them as long as Hezbollah doesn't shoot inside Israel. What Netanyahu seems to be trying to do is lock in the kind of territorial gains that they have made to this point, to say, like, okay, now we're everywhere that we are. You can't shoot your FPV drones at us anymore. You can't attack us. We're just claiming all of this.
Right.
And Hezbollah's like, no. Here's an idea. Like, leave Lebanon. Like, go back to Israel. If you don't want us to shoot at you in Lebanon, don't be in Lebanon anymore. And they are taking significant casualties. Like, yesterday they took that stupid Beaufort Crusader Castle, or they took it a couple days ago.
Yep, we covered that.
And then yesterday, it looks like 3 Israelis were killed with FPV drone attacks in that castle, or right around outside of that castle. And according to my colleague Maz, what Hezbollah is saying is that because Israel celebrated their conquest of this Crusader Castle and put up videos, Hezbollah was able to study exactly where they were and just quickly sent a drone swarm and killed several of them. And it's also a pointless fort to be holding.
Right. Which Griffin told me there's actually a film from like 2007 about the futility of taking this castle. It's almost like these religious crusader wars don't usually have a point and don't particularly work out for anybody involved. I guess for the people who
we'll get a sequel. We'll get a sequel of that film.
Hopefully. Let's put this next one up here on the screen. Netanyahu's proxy, Amit Segal of Israel, says exclusive, according to a very senior official on the PM's team. I wonder who that is. The late night Netanyahu call. The Axios report is inaccurate. Trump did not make personal remarks about jail or claim Netanyahu is hated globally. Instead, he focused on the conflicting social media posts. Trump felt Netanyahu implied that the war was continuing at full intensity, while Netanyahu felt Trump implied a total ceasefire. Trump did note that defending Israel's global position is difficult and breeds hatred. Ultimately, the call ended with an understanding Israel will hold off on striking Beirut as long as it's not attacked within its own borders. So that last part actually makes a lot of sense, because what Netanyahu currently has been trying to do is saying that every time Israelis who are occupying southern Lebanon, IDF soldiers get attacked, that is then itself a pretext. However, remember, they are occupying almost half of the entire country, not just occupying, saying, we're not leaving. Like, you can't
be here. You have to evacuate.
You have to leave. Like, literally. Yeah. I mean, the craziest thing, I think you guys reported this, was when they were contacting, Sunni and Christian families and being like, hey, if you've got any Shia people, they got to go.
Right, yeah, the Christian villages.
God. Yeah. Right, yeah, going to the Christian villages, but any Shia residents, they have to go. And if you
Yes, that's the smart strategy, because the Shias have the biggest issue with Israel. This is efficient. This is efficiency. Israel doesn't have the time, and they do, and they still play all these Western games. But when Israel finally makes decisions like this, to not play Western games, the way they do in Ben Gurion Airport, where they question people they deem suspicious, they understand that the biggest enemy to Israel and Hezbollah are the Shia Muslims. So they're simply taking a very smart precaution and saying, let's get the people who are most likely to either be in Hezbollah or support Hezbollah to go as far away from the Israeli northern border as possible. That is smart. Is it going to piss people off? Absolutely. Should Israel care? No. No, they shouldn't. And as far as I'm concerned, Israel should occupy the whole damn country until Hezbollah says we're done. Done. Because otherwise, the entirety of Israel is going to have to worry about a militant group, a very dangerous militant group, stronger than Hamas, vowing to attempt to destroy the state of Israel. Like, the world is totally upside down. You're occupying Lebanon, that's why Hezbollah is attacking you. No, no, no. Hezbollah is attacking you because Iran pays them to do so, and they are religiously motivated to do it, and they use the Palestinians as a motivating factor, as this incentive. Like, we wouldn't be attacking you if you weren't bothering the Palestinians. No, 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 no. You don't give a shit about the Palestinians. Otherwise, there wouldn't be refugee camps in Lebanon like Ain al Hilwa. I love how I know these things. It's great. Which is a refugee camp full of terrorism, full of civil battles. These different militant groups are constantly killing each other. It's a wild, wild west. Hezbollah doesn't actually give a shit about Hamas. They are simply sharing an enemy. And so they, I mean, they didn't team up on October 7th, but Hezbollah did what it felt like was the smart thing at the time. Instead of invading, they shot a bunch of rockets, missiles, projectiles, drones at Israel to cause the Israelis on the northern border to flee, which I believe 60 to 80,000 of them, probably more at this point, have done so. So they accomplished quite a lot, unfortunately.
Shelter them, we're going to kill you.
They're checking the attics.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like,
bro,
really?
Yeah, exactly. Very right. Yeah, you can draw the historical parallel there for yourself. Let's put A1 up here on the screen. This is Trump's readout of the call. I had a very productive call with Netanyahu. There will be no troops going to Beirut. Any troops that are on their way have already turned back, which, by the way, was a real breaking news because that's not even originally what was being told. They said they were going to bomb them.
Yeah,
we didn't know that they were going to Beirut. I mean, they may be, though. Right?
Yes.
They may have actually been on their way. Likewise, through highly placed representatives, I had a very good call with Hezbollah. They agreed that all shooting will stop, that Israel will not attack them, and they will not attack Israel. Remember, Hezbollah...
You see, this is the problem. This is the problem. The problem is, it all so much comes down to this. Trump is not helping long term. Trump is stopping conflict in the short term, and he is unfortunately pressuring Israel not to finish the job, which incentivizes the enemy to continue doing what they're doing. By Trump not allowing Israel to do what it needs to do, inevitably Hezbollah will come back stronger in the future and everything will go on as it used to go on. All of the idea of soldiers that died, all of the bullshit that Israelis had to endure is all going to happen again because Trump doesn't actually care about solving the issues. It benefits the United States for these conflicts to continue. And if you listen to my other reaction videos, I explain why. I'll repeat myself every single time. It benefits wealthy billionaires, benefits people in the weapons industry, it benefits superpowers, it benefits Iran to keep funding these wars, to make money on weapons, to be a thorn in the side of Israel, to just constantly fight wars of attrition with Israel. Israel has to keep mowing the grass. This statement here by Donald Trump, it doesn't help. As far as I'm concerned, IDF soldiers should be on the ground in Beirut. You should see boots on the ground in Beirut. People in Beirut should be scared shitless seeing the soldiers. Not because I want soldiers in Beirut. I don't want IDF soldiers in Beirut, but there needs to be such a a, a harsh pressure on the Lebanese population that they start to push Hezbollah out. There's not enough pressure. Israel needs to create insurmountable, painful pressure on the entirety of Lebanon. Because if Hezbollah needs to be taken out. Like it needs to be so weak to the point where the Lebanese army can step in and re-educate. Otherwise, Israel's got to control territory. Like if Israel doesn't, this is the Middle East. If Israel doesn't crush its enemies, absolutely crush them, then they're just going to come back stronger. This is the way it is. You have to smash your enemy in the Middle East. There's nothing else you can do. Because unfortunately, a lot of these wars are fought on the basis of religion. And until you just absolutely smash your enemy, they don't learn. They don't learn. They're motivated to get up again and do it again. And it sucks. It would maybe it'd be nice if Israel wasn't located in the Middle East, but wasn't up to me. I'm not the one who chose it. You know, I believe God did. So it's a pretty big dilemma. But anyway, let's continue.
has already come out and said, no, that's not true. We will definitely attack Israelis who are in Lebanon. In terms of striking Israel, sure, if they don't hit Dahiya in Beirut, then yeah, we won't hit them in Israel. But in the interim, war in Lebanon is still on. Let's put A2 up here on the screen just to show you some of the video, Ryan. It came out in the Lebanese city of Tyre. I apologize if I'm saying these incorrectly. Several buildings, including a hospital, was struck. I know there were multiple casualties that were reported. So yeah, you can see, I mean, this was literally just yesterday in terms of the Israeli strikes that were on this city, allegedly, again, always a Hezbollah stronghold. So you can see why in Lebanon you have already had, what, hundreds of thousands of people displaced, IDF soldiers occupying a significant part of the country, issuing evacuation orders, which thousands actually abided by in the Dahiya district of Beirut. They were like, okay, hey, we got to go. They're about to level this place. Now, Trump did hold back on those strikes. However, we all know it's just a matter of time before anything like that happens again. Let's put A3 up here.
It's so interesting. It's like the world expects Israel just not to. It's so fucking frustrating being a Jewish person, and I don't really expect very many people to understand that, and I surely don't expect them to care. I know the guys on this that I'm watching don't give a fuck. They're like, oh, victim, victim. I know that's what they would say. It's like we really are damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't. We almost have to let Hezbollah live on the border and just have their fun at us whenever they want. Like that's the only thing that would really be the reasonable decision according to these two assholes on the screen. That's really the reality of it. Like there's nothing that Israel could really do because these guys would probably say, "Oh, well, you're living on stolen land to begin with. You're on Palestinian land. Serves you right." Like that. It's just like I'm so tired of people in the Israel camp, in the pro-Israel camp, giving a fuck what people like these people think. So what? Like, so honestly, so what if 98% of the world hates us? Who gives a shit? Like, what, I mean, would it be nice? Is it nice to be liked? Of course. Do I prefer to be respected and alive? Oh, 10 out of 10 times. Like, if I can't have both, then so be it. Like, in order to be loved, it means we have to continue to take the shit of just surrounded by enemies attacking. I mean, like, if Israel keeps getting into these things, what's going to be for the future? What is going to be? Just if Bibi's not going to have the guts to do these things, we need a leader who's going to do it, who's literally going to say, Trump, thank you, no thank you. Not on board, stay out of my way. Like, that's what's going to come. It's got to come down to that at some point. It's going to say, you're either with us or you're not. Like, I understand. I understand if it's too much pressure for you, but at the very least, stay out of our way and let us do what we got to do. And Israel's going to obviously need military self-reliance to do that because right now, unfortunately, it's held by the balls. Because Trump could just say, "Okay, okay, fine. You don't want to listen. We're not going to send you A through Z." And those are things that Israel desperately needs militarily. Because Israel put itself in that situation. Bibi knows this. Everyone knows this. It's got to change. It's got to change. I hope in the next decade it will. But it's a huge problem.
On the screen, this seems to have been the precipitating event behind Trump calling off the strikes and calling Netanyahu. Iran had suspended all diplomatic communication and messages with the U.S., according to Iranian state media. The decision was
Another thing, Iran, I gotta give it to them. Whether they're Iranian non-Islamists or the Iranian Islamists, Iranian people are smart people. You hear that thrown around a lot that Iranians are smart. It's a smart tactic. Iran's playing a smart game. Pressure the Israelis not to fight with Hezbollah, not to fight in Lebanon, get them out. So then Iran can keep doing what it's doing through, because Hezbollah is its strongest party, it's its strongest fighting force as a proxy. And if Israel manages to decimate Hezbollah, Iran's got a much harder time fighting with Israel. It's got a lot less power. It desperately wants to keep Hezbollah alive. And this is the problem we're dealing with. Because, yeah, we want Iran to stop what it's doing, but Iran's like, well, if you want to make some sort of deal that benefits you, well, we don't want to give up too much leverage, which is smart. I don't blame them for that. They have goals, they have interests. Those interests directly oppose Israel and the United States. But the United States has less to lose in this. They're not worried about their survival. They're not worried. There's no existential threat really to them at the moment. So they're like, all right, let's make a deal. Whatever. Israel's got to deal with Hezbollah. We'll just keep sending them weapons so they can kind of hold them off for eternity. And Israelis are like, for fuck's sake already. Got to deal with these motherfuckers on our doorstep constantly threatening us. Can we just smash them already? America's like, no, no, we got to make a deal with Hezbollah's bigger daddy Iran. Nope. It's like, fuck, man.
Reportedly due to Iranian opposition to the Israeli strikes against Hezbollah. And so, again, to bring it back, I think, to Professor Pape's analysis here on the show, he said two things. First, he has his framework of the escalation trap, but the second was about how Iran has turned into a world power. And what you have watched now is this great strategic folly of Israel. Iran's leverage over the Strait of Hormuz and over the nuclear issue and the ability to not surrender to the United States has enabled them to use the Strait of Hormuz and diplomatic talks, which Trump desperately wants, as leverage to obtain restraint on Israeli action in Lebanon. And so whenever they say, hey,
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. Yep, yep. If there's one thing we agree, him and me and this nerd agree on, it's that. Yes, yep. Iran, they're smart. You got to give it to them. But the solution is simple. You can't give Iran the cards. Like you got to say, Iran, go fuck yourself. Like you have to twist their arm. We're trying to like give them a little handshake. You got to literally take their arm and crack it off. That's what you got. Like it's a problem, man. It's a fucking problem.
we're pulling out of the deal, or we're suspending all talks if these strikes are going to continue, Trump immediately has to pick up the phone and restrain Israel. First of all, it shows why this is probably a doomed effort in the long run, because Israel is there and constantly wants to be pushing these things, but it demonstrates Iranian veto power. And this is really what Mark Levin and others are freaking out about, is that for them, it's intolerable because they created this monster with Iran, able to shut the Strait of Hormuz, able to have all this leverage in diplomatic talks, while also having literal Israeli action, even, yes, extreme Israeli action, be restrained. I'm not going to say they haven't won, in the near term with all their occupation, but the fact that Iran has that ability, literally, to just come in and say, nope, the entire thing is off if this continues, and then the president has to pick up the phone and call them, only demonstrates their power in these negotiations.
Yes, absolutely. That's the key point. Iran said, as a result of all of these Israeli attacks on Lebanon, we are cutting off contact with the American mediators, the mediators between us and the United States. And Trump immediately called.
Immediately.
That is the key point. But Trump does not seem to want to take that to the next step.
Exactly.
Which is, okay, if that is genuinely the power relationship that exists here at this moment, certainly given oil prices and the global economy like approaching free fall, then I need to do something about this. He gets that, but the something, he just can't get himself to it because there's just no way to thread the needle of resolving this without it being utterly humiliating. I mean, I would sign on to some type of thing. I won't make fun of him for 2 weeks, a month. Like, what do you need?
Like, put A4, because this is where I really want your analysis, because it's really complicated. Let's put A4 up here on the screen. The Lebanese embassy issued a statement yesterday. They said, with the framework of the efforts undertaken by the Lebanese state to preserve stability and spare Lebanon, following communication, etc., under the proposed arrangement, Israeli strikes on the southern suburbs of Beirut would cease in exchange for Hezbollah refraining from carrying attacks against Israel, with the scope of the ceasefire subsequently being expanded to encompass the entirety of Lebanese territory. So they're claiming that Hezbollah has agreed not only to cease attacks on Israel, but also to cease attacks on all IDF soldiers in Lebanese territory as a request of the Lebanese government, which again is not Hezbollah, but they're, have some sort of back channel. How much faith should we put into this? Because again, Hezbollah had denied at least some of this in part. We don't know yet how much of it is true, but could you explain those dynamics of the Lebanese government, Hezbollah, the current ceasefire talks? Because it doesn't actually include Hezbollah. That's what's so confusing.
The key line here, and the way it's phrased is, with the scope of the ceasefire subsequently being expanded to encompass the entirety of Lebanese territory. So what that means is it's going in phases. So first, Israeli strikes on Beirut have to stop, and then Hezbollah strikes on Israel will have to stop. Then some other things have to happen. That's what's left unsaid in between the comma and the with here. And then subsequently, there would be a ceasefire across all of Lebanon. So then that's where that's where the devil resides, in between there. What is Hezbollah asking for? A full agreement with Iran, and that includes Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon, which is Iran's demand. In which case, subsequently not firing within Lebanese territory would make sense, because there would be no IDF troops there. They withdrew last time. Hezbollah's hoping that they will withdraw again. Israel's clearly doesn't have any intention of doing so. So this is a very difficult difference to bridge here.
Yeah, and let's put a.
From Israel's perspective, if their enemy's not willing to lay their arms down, the only option for Israel is to permanently take territory. That's a symbol. It's a signal. It's a statement. It says, okay, you don't want to cooperate. We're trying. We want you to cooperate. We pretty much know you're not going to do it. The West is pressuring us not to defeat you, and so we're going to take land and we're not going to give it back. In the event that you actually do what we need you to do, because we're a lot stronger than you, and the only reason why we aren't taking over the entire country, because Israel could conquer all of Lebanon if it wanted to, is because it's not trying to be. It wants to work together with the United States. It values the alliance with the United States. It's not trying to be enemies with everybody. It just wants to have safety and security. And it has many enemies. And unfortunately, the West is tying its hands. So it has to do something to change the future. If it's going to keep doing the same things, if it keeps pulling back, if the IDF keeps pulling back and withdrawing all its troops to the northern border, then we know what's going to happen. Hezbollah is going to say, "Okay, we weathered the storm. It was painful. People died. Whatever. They couldn't care less. Same with Hamas. Same idea. And they'll just regroup again. They'll recruit more members. They'll get more weapons. They'll get more funding, and eventually they'll do what they did again. They'll build new tunnels. Same thing's going to happen. Same thing will happen in Gaza if Israel doesn't keep territory. That's the punishment. They need to take territory. Oh, occupation. Occupation my ass. Like, call it whatever the hell you want. Stop trying to annihilate Israel, and this won't have to happen. But you don't get to I've said this before many times, you don't get to wish and aim and attempt to annihilate a country which is a lot stronger than you, and then expect nothing to happen. And the problem is Israel up until now has kept doing this. They keep withdrawing under the pressure of the US and other Western countries. And then they end up going back to war again. And they send more 18, 19, 20-year-olds to war to die. It's just like, for how long are we going to do this?
5 up there on the screen. Immediately after his Netanyahu call leaked, Trump truths. Talks are continuing at a rapid pace with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And so, look, all of this was market related because what happened is Netanyahu, as we covered yesterday, announced we're going to strike Beirut. And immediately you had Iran cut off talks. So oil
and
spiked.
Bab el-Mandeb.
And then, oh, right, that's right. They also threatened the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Trump picks up the phone. But in the meantime, Brent crude surges by 8%. Stock futures drop after the Trump phone call with Netanyahu leaks and his Truth Social post goes up. Then the stock futures went up, and I believe some oil went down. But let's not forget. I mean, what's the Brent crude
85,
currently at? Let's
86.
see. $93 a barrel. So I mean, it's still high. And if I were to look at gas prices nationally, it's still $4.29 a gallon, and diesel still sitting around $5.43 a gallon, which is only 40 cents or so off of the all-time high back in 2022. All of this together, it's not like anything is really happening. I mean,
right, and this
last
is
week,
inventories and strategic reserves depleted.
Yeah, yesterday, I believe that the SPR will reach its lowest level ever by next week. Total oil inventory is near record lows. We were going to cover this yesterday. The Chevron CEO was talking about how it's basically inevitable for oil to go to 140, 150 a barrel, which to translate into gas terms is roughly $6 a gallon. Simply because he's like, look, we don't have any more oil. He's like, we don't have that much oil. It's like,
you want it, you got to pay.
Yeah, he's like, somebody's going to have to pay for it. It's a global commodity. The straits close. Japan, Korea, you have multiple months now where, it takes a long time for these tankers to move across the ocean. So a lot of the orders placed in the middle of the war, some of them are already just now either arriving here or are on their way to their current destination. And, it takes a while for all of this stuff to empty, but the bills come and due. And I mean, basically already due with gas at $4.29 a gallon. Let's go to A6 here from Trump. This was also his immediate reaction. By the way, just to show you how flailing this entire thing, when the news initially broke that Iran was going to cut off talks, he told this to an NBC News reporter. I think we've been talking too much, if you want to know the truth. I think going silent would be very good, and that could be for a long time. It doesn't mean we're going to go and start dropping bombs all there. We'll just go silent. We'll keep the blockade. Blockade is a piece of steel. I think I can wait as long as they want. They're losing a fortune. The Art of the Deal author, he said, also seemed to have been some grudging respect for negotiators. When I first asked about reports they're suspending talks, quote, it's an appropriate thing to say because they're better negotiators than they are fighters. I mean, Trump is
pretty good fighters too, apparently.
Yeah, they're not bad. I think what they are seeing is the futility of this Gordian knot that they are in. He can either buckle or he can escalate. And that's the escalation trap, ultimately. In the meantime, they're trying to have everything half-assed. And even just with Israel, can we all ruminate for a second that, the Titanic phone call is over Israeli strikes on Beirut, not the occupation of half of the country, which they claim will never be given back to the residents ever again. They literally say it. They what do they say about Lebanon? Southern Lebanon, they're like, you will never return. Right. You will literally never return. They just say it out loud. And that's the ceasefire position. If anything, by the way, the Hezbollah and Iran and all of them not willing to fight while half of their country is occupied is nuts. I mean, from their perspective.
And it's also crazy that...
Oh, no, it's not nuts. It's actually fantastic. The question is, will Israel do it? Yep. Don't do it. Just stop attacking. Stop attacking Israel, and this won't have to happen. That's it.
The sticking point between the two countries, the United States and Iran, when it comes to reaching a deal, is what Israel wants to do in Lebanon. Mm-hmm. Like, if you just came to this cold, you'd be like, well, that sounds like a separate thing, because the war is between the United States and Iran, as far as we're told, and it's like anti-Semitic to say anything else. Mm-hmm. So then why?
No. The reality is it all comes down to Israel. Like, I'm not trying to get religious on everybody, but America wants to assert its power in the Middle East and uses Israel to do it. And the reality is all of these wars come down to Israel because it's all religious. It's the reality. This is like the spirituality, it's just crazy because I'm not a very religious person day to day. I'm very, very connected to God in my own sense, but it's so evident. Like America is a much bigger, more powerful country than Israel. But Israel's at the crux of all this. Nobody really cares about the US in that sense. Well, is a factor that they don't think they can beat the United States? Oh yeah, for sure. But they don't care. These Muslim countries at the current moment don't really care that much about the US. What they care about is the symbolism that the Jews have control over something so significant to them. Their footing, they have their their foundation in land that's so contested to them, right? The Dome of the Rock, Muhammad's ascension. These are things that are very fundamental to them. It's a real stab in the gut for them. And they really want to reclaim that honor. It was a big slap in the face to the Muslim world when the weak Jews who were expelled and kicked around post Holocaust, post Farhud in Iraq, post all these expulsions and pogroms and persecution, these weak stateless Jews got together from all four corners of the earth and kicked Muslim ass, like Arab ass, Muslim ass, whatever you want to say. And the Arab world, the Muslim world, they're trying to reclaim their honor. This is so much of what this is all about. It's interesting because you have all these guys, like these two guys, they're making all these speculations, and I really have this understanding that they don't have. It's very interesting. Like they don't really understand these things, but it's like they're going in this direction that's almost irrelevant, and I'm like, it's this is what's going on here. And they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. No, this. If you focus on this, everything starts to make sense.
Why is it being hung up by this other conflict that
Right.
doesn't have anything to do with us?
Yeah. If you were to say, hey, we could all pay less in gas and we can negotiate bilaterally tomorrow, but Israel just has to withdraw from a country which is literally not theirs. Everyone would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, cool. The only people who wouldn't sign that deal are the Israelis, right? Who are for
Which,
oh,
fine.
it's intolerable. Yeah, we're like, okay, cool. Yeah,
We
fine.
should still reach a deal with Iran.
Yeah, we could just reach a deal with Iran. You guys just have to leave Lebanon. It sucks for you.
And if not, Iran can
it's
deal
not
with
really
it.
our problem.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. But ultimately, that's why, I maybe we can edit this in post. I've just been thinking about this all day. So one of my friends sent it to me. This is the mindset of Mark Levin, who basically is a traitor to the United States for doing something like this. We will soon celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. We're off to a good start, Ryan. The Declaration was in essence a declaration of war against the most powerful military force on earth, the British Empire. He ruminates on the patriotism. Every delegate who signed that document had signed their own death warrant. Here's where it gets good. Let us remember this when we listen to the debates about whether or not we should defeat the Iranian regime. So we have a full paragraph here, which is all about the courage of the American Revolution and how much everything was on the line. And now he goes, all the arguments and even excuses against it, despite 47 years of its killing, maiming thousands of our fellow countrymen, 47 years of lies and deceit, to decades of developing nuclear and missile technology to obliterate our nation, and a far more dangerous and diabolical ideological agenda than that of the British monarchy. Yet, George Washington and the brave founders of our country personally risked everything. Ultimately, the British forces surrenders. The Iranian regime will never surrender. They will never abide by a deal any more than they have abided by a ceasefire. I am mindful only 35% of colonists supported war with Britain. My view may similarly be a minority view today. I hope not, but if it is, so be it. So he links the pluckiness and the courage of the founders of the American Revolution to his support for the war with Iran, which he now says is unpopular by his own view, but is as just of a cause as the American founding was. Imagine the psychology of that.
The irony, of course, which I bet a bunch of viewers have picked up on, is that the Iranian revolutionaries were inspired by the American revolutionaries.
Right.
We both threw off the British. Like the Iranians threw off the British. Like the Shah was an American and British puppet. Like we installed the Shah because Iran had nationalized British petroleum, like a British oil company, and the Brits wanted us to take it back for them.
Yeah.
And so then the Iranian
And they weren't even
Revolution
that powerful.
threw them back.
And I don't even
off.
know why we did it. In retrospect, when you read it, you're like, why did we do this?
Yeah, why do we do this? They wanted to be our allies.
Right.
They were a democratic government. They just wanted like control over their oil resources, which is a completely reasonable thing to want. And
we're not talking about 1912 or whatever when the British Empire is at its peak. We're talking about what is it, 1953?
yeah, they were already.
That's great. That's great. Maybe America should have fucking left Iran alone at the time, but now we are where we are right now. So maybe America should take responsibility for being so hungry for oil, like all the other damn countries, all these other powerful countries. So Americans are now complaining about it. Get rid of the government we have now, install a more democratic government that doesn't have an issue with Israel and the United States, and then leave it and let it do its thing. Let it grow, let it become more powerful economically, and leave it alone. That's it. You have a government that wants peace with Israel? Boom, done. What can we do? Like, are we going to achieve complete world peace? Is some Jesus-like figure going to come from the heavens and just bless the world with Woodstock and Kumbaya? I don't fucking know. I mean, man, I don't know. I guess we can try to do our best. But man, these radical Islamic countries, that one thing, I mean, they really need to chill the fuck out already. And then greed of Western countries is also a huge issue. Can't negate that.
Getting cooked in the Suez, and they were on their way out.
What are we doing?
Why are we fighting for these people? Yeah. So yes, there are parallels to the American Revolution and the overthrow of the British monarchy, but it doesn't go in the direction that
it's just. I mean, reading this and seeing. I mean, but you could only read this and say, and to compare support for the American Revolution to support for war with Iran, which is existential in no way whatsoever for the United States, but is existential for one country, to Israel, you should ask, okay, who are you loyal to? Literally, like, if you believe that it's so existential, then that means that you seem to be much more loyal to Israel than to the United States. Because you know what's more existential to the U.S.? Oh, I don't know, $6 a gallon gasoline, which, by the way, he even says is not that big of a deal. So, yeah, he's willing to sacrifice all of you, for his war and to try and tell you that you're just like George Washington if you support it. And that's the level, though. In some ways, it's good. If that's how reductive the propaganda has gotten, then it shows how untenable support the war is for itself. Because this is what the Iraq War was like, and I remember it well.
As the founding fathers said, we must always go in search of monsters to destroy. I think that's what it said, right?
Yeah, George Washington famously in his farewell address said, we must go abroad in search of monsters to destroy. So well said. All right, let's get to AI. Hey.
All right, ladies and gents, so that wraps up the review. You've heard all my points. I look forward to you leaving your thoughts in the comments. Of course, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. For all of your South Florida real estate needs, get in contact with me. It would be a pleasure to assist you. You can follow me at Rafi the Realtor. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can find my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. You can also hype my video in the comments, which will help push the video to the algorithm. Until next time, it's a wrap. Peace.